Sports, Wheels, and Reels. I am Austin Horton. Thanks for joining me each and every week along with Jeff Miller, owner, operator, and demigod of Mark Miller.
Wow, that's a little far.
Well, sorry, demigod goes first.
Okay, there we go. Now we got it figured
in the right
out.
order. How are you, buddy?
Good. Excited to have him back. It's week number 2.
Very excited. Our audience can't see the things in front of us and around us, but
we're getting more and more professional every day.
it's getting the pressure's on all of a sudden. We've got soundboards and countdown clocks and graphics. And
our production value is going through the roof.
And I actually already failed one of my jobs, so I'm going to start that right then. We have sports to talk about. We have wheels. We have reels. We're going to
mix it up a little this week.
Mix it up, yeah, the order of things we're talking about.
Totally.
Because mostly no one really is all that too excited or optimistic to talk about the Jazz right out.
So we're going to make that last.
Yes, we'll put them, when they start winning again, we'll make them first.
Yeah, I like that.
That's how that goes.
Starting tonight, right? Start tonight?
Well, tonight,
let's get back to
tonight's a fake game, really. All right. But let's dive in and talk some cars, some wheels, Jeff. The auto show was in town at it used to be the Southtown
the
Expo
Mountain
Center.
America Expo Center out in Sandy.
America.
And it was fun. It was fun to see all the cars, and most of the brands were there. Not all of them. You didn't see the BMWs, you didn't see the Mercedes. Some of those brands didn't bother to show up, but you had Toyota, you had Honda, you had Subaru, you had GM, you had Chevy, you had all those guys there. So it was fun to see. My biggest takeaway from it is just how expensive cars are getting. It's crazy. I mean, you walk around and see some of those cars, and you see some of those big SUVs and the Yukon starting with 80s and 90s. It's nuts. The official vehicles of Utah are becoming very expensive.
I was going to say, the ones that you see in every parking lot at the grocery store.
Right? I mean, those Yukon Denali's are 80, 90 grand now.
And that's without airfare. I mean, that doesn't include, for
and
that.
Then you add gas on top of that.
and the way things are going with the gas. And that kind of dovetails into the surprise. At least it was a surprise for me.
It was a surprise for me, and I should know these things being on the Subaru's National Retailer Board.
They didn't even let you know.
Nobody knew. I don't think even our district manager knew until about 2 days before that they were going to, I'll throw the picture right behind us, of the brand new 2023 Subaru Solterra was there at the auto show in person, and it wasn't even roped off. People were getting in it, climbing in the back, treating it like an auto show car.
Yeah, and this was not one of those, patent inflatable tanks Solterras.
Yeah, this was a real drivable electric. It still was marked prototype, so it wasn't a 100% official car. It just gives them some leeway if they want to change some options.
Yeah, right.
But it was fun to see. I mean, that's going to be a really cool car. The rumor we're hearing is the first week of February is when Subaru's going to open the order system on it. It was supposed to be this week, but they've delayed it a little bit. So it'll be about a month-long order process to get orders in.
Yeah.
And my guess is we're going to have about 15 to 20 slots per store is my guess. And so you'll go to Subaru.com and be able to pick our store. But if you really want to get on the list, get a hold of one of our product specialists, one of them here, if you'd like to. But you can really get a hold of anybody.
Have to be me.
But get a hold of somebody at either one of our locations and get on the list, and we can actually enter you into. We can actually put your order in for you on Subaru.com when we know that actually comes out, because we think spots are going to go pretty quick.
Yeah, so you don't have to sit at home refreshing. We'll do that for you.
Yeah, and this car is actually going to should be on the ground May or June of this year.
As in delivered to us?
Delivered to, on the ground, in our driveways.
Oh, wow.
And they are going to also require us to keep one. So we're actually going to have one in our SSLP loaner fleet. At each of our stores that we'll actually have, so we'll have it for test drives and loaning out to people, and it's going to be neat.
And in order to rent that or have that loaned out to, there's a feat of strength that you have to go through. There's an alligator pit out back and all kinds of stuff.
I don't know how we're going to deal with that, but we'll figure that out when it comes. One problem at a time, right?
Yeah. But it was really exciting to have the Solterra on the ground.
It's going to be cool. It's a full electric vehicle, 220-mile range, and I don't think it's going to be crazy expensive. I mean, you talk about some of the cars, and we looked. I was talking to you before about the new Ford, the little sedan Mach 5 or Mach E Ford. $65,000.
It's crazy.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
It's good range, but $65,000. I think what Subaru's trying to do and what Toyota's doing in the joint is they're trying to build that same electric car, but they know that they could build a car with a 300-mile range, a 350-mile range, but they don't want it to be a $70,000, $80,000 car.
Right. Because
So
yeah.
I think the hope is, we haven't seen pricing, so this is just me guessing, is we're hoping this is going to be a $40,000-$50,000 car.
And that hope is, and guess, is based on what you think Subaru's trying to do, is deliver to the people an affordable electric
car. Because if anybody can make it get more, it's just put more batteries in. The batteries are the expensive part.
Right.
Make it heavier and put more batteries in it. And if they do that, it's going to raise the price. And I think that they were okay with a 220-mile range on a fully all-wheel drive car to try and keep it an affordable car.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful, and I think it's going to be very popular. It already is popular. It doesn't even truly exist yet.
Yeah, and we're going to work on, we're starting to build our infrastructure. We're starting to look at how we put more charging stations in at our store, create some partnerships with some local companies to be able to do charging stations in people's houses. Because really, if you buy one of these, you are going to need a level 2 charger in your house.
Yeah.
Using the thing that comes with it and plugging it in the wall, not going to work. It'll take about 2 days to charge. So I think you're going to want that charger. But if you have a level 2 charger, it's 6 to 8 hours. So you plug it in overnight and you're good to go in the morning.
For sure. So that was the exciting Subaru news at the auto show. And we'll get back into talking a little bit about prices in a moment. But let's talk a little bit about the legislative session that's going on. There was a Representative Joel Briscoe of Salt Lake has a bill that he's sponsoring to make UTA ride fares, waive them all, and make it completely free.
So essentially using our state budget to subsidize public transportation.
Right. And they said that most of the revenues, nearly 2/3 of the revenue currently that UTA gets, is from contract fares anyway. So like the University of Utah, every student gets to ride free. Well, it's not free. The U is paying for it. And so
will those become free, or will they stop the contract?
That's the question. that is. But the history in other cities around the country and frankly the world where they make public transportation free is not only ridership goes up, but then you see emissions and pollution go down. Okay. I just wanted to pick your brain on that. I'm of the opinion that it should be free. I think more people would use it, and we're in dire need of more people using it.
Oh, absolutely.
And with car prices rising, that's going to have to be a more viable option for people.
I think the more that you can get people using public transportation, the better our air quality is going to be. And I think that combined with a lot of other things can really help what we've seen for the last week. Hopefully the storm last night cleared it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But that inversion, it's here to stay for a while until we can figure out how to get into more electric cars, how to get more people taking tracks, how to get more people taking buses here and there. My question, how much... I mean, I just don't know this because I haven't been in some of those cities, but in like southern Utah and some of those more rural cities, how much UTA service is there down there?
Well, and that's a good question. In fact, part of this bill, it does exclude those areas from the free...
Which in my mind, just knowing how our state legislature works, that's pretty much going to be a doomsday for the bill because the power of the Utah state legislature is not in our cities.
Yeah, and the fact that
the legislator's going to help are all of the Salt Lake and main city legislatures who are actually would be the ones who'd want this.
Yes.
And they're the weakness. They have the weak power in our legislature. So
you heard it here. Our Salt Lake reps are weak. No, we're just kidding. That's not what we're saying. That's
not what we're saying. I know a lot of them too, so I got to get me in trouble.
We had several in studio last week. We just but I think that public transportation should be and needs to be free. I don't know that it's going to kill UTA. It will kill it from a revenue standpoint, but they're still going to get the money from the taxes.
Yeah, but as you look at ways to spend this huge surplus that we have, there's ways to do it where we can actually improve our environment. Yeah. You know, we have a huge surplus, and the first thing we always think is, let's tax cuts. So how about we solve our problems?
How about we give our teachers enough money to, live?
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, that's how I look at that stuff. And I think this UTA thing, it's a good step. The odds of it going through, I would put it at a lower level than higher level.
Yeah. This same rep, Briscoe, did get one passed where on mandatory air days, it is free in certain areas.
And I like that. I think there should be free days.
That's a start.
It'd be interesting to see how much on those free days it spiked.
True.
Like, I would love to see the data on how much those free days actually increase ridership of Front Runner and all that, and making it more useful. And the other thing the UTA needs is, hopefully, if they could get the ridership up, is they need better east-west routes.
Amen.
They need to be able to, if
that's a
they could
must.
connect the east-west to that central line that goes north-south,
Yeah.
I think it would really help. But it's going to take huge budget increases, and hopefully stuff from the infrastructure bill and things like that can help with that.
This is one of those topics where I'd love feedback from our listeners and viewers. So find us on all your social media platforms. The SWR Podcast is our name on Twitter. Facebook is the Sports Wheels and Reels Podcast. Get at us. I'm at Austin Horton on Twitter. You're at Jeff Miller.
I just changed it.
Yeah,
MMS Jeff Miller, I think.
MMS Jeff Miller.
We'll
I'd love to
that.
hear your thoughts on should UTA be government subsidized? Should it be free to ride UTA? Before we close out our wheels segment, though, Jeff, I was talking with you before the show, and we both had a similar thought this morning about a topic to bring up, and that is, and we'll toot our own horn a little here, but it's not.
Pricing.
There's more of a topic rather than an advertisement for us.
Absolutely.
We don't sell above MSRP.
True.
We don't, or
Never.
above sticker as
Never.
as the Modicon.
So as long as I've been alive. It was one of my dad's things forever. It doesn't matter what the car is. It doesn't matter if it's a car we're going to get one of, and the market of it's $20,000 over sticker. We don't sell over sticker, and that's always been our mantra and what we do. And the funny thing is, you're right. Right now, if you go, we're trying to estimate it, but my guess is probably at least 25%, 20 to 25% of retailers just in this market are selling something or other over MSRP.
Yeah, yeah.
And the justification for it is our inventory is short. We have to. Supply and demand. And it's actually become an ad mantra for a lot of stores. We've just done it forever, so we're not really advertising on the fact, but you're starting to see there's an ad behind us that shows you kind of what we're talking about. The Toyota of Seattle will not sell a vehicle over MSRP due to the lack of available inventory. And there's another one in Texas that basically said, our inventory supply issues shouldn't be your pricing issues.
Yeah, right.
And the idea is, and I think you're seeing it in a lot of businesses, is this idea of using the excuse of supply chain issues to raise prices arbitrarily.
Yeah.
There was an article about Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Okay.
Coca-Cola and Pepsi both raised prices. And their margins, so not their prices, their margins, how much they make price to cost, are higher than they've ever been.
Interesting.
So they're not raising prices because their costs are going up to the same percentage.
Yeah.
They're using it as a way to make more money, and businesses are making record profits.
I saw the same thing about a dollar store.
Yeah,
where
dollar
everything
store is now
was
$1.25.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of our business owners out there in the world are using this as an excuse to make more money versus true inflation. And inflation's being risen more than it should be because of businesses taking advantage of this versus, the profits in the auto industry are all-time high.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with no cars. And that doesn't make any sense. It's because everyone's selling cars over sticker or at sticker. And
Yeah.
we're selling most of our cars, I think, right now are a couple $100 under sticker.
Yep.
Most of the things we sell right now. We're not going to sell a card invoice right now. That makes zero sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go crazy either because we know that customer is going to come back. And my worry to people, and this is our advice part of the show, is
Get a pen. Write this down.
be very careful buying a car over sticker. And I know a lot of it out there, and you really want that car and you need it, so you're going to go buy that car over sticker. But you got to understand is that this inventory shortage is temporary. And when that inventory flips, and all of a sudden now everybody's got 60-day supplies on their lots again, or in the domestic world, 90-day supplies on their lots again. If it gets back to that range,
Right.
guess what? Cars are going to sell at invoice again. And guess what happens if you paid $5,000 or $10,000 over sticker? That money is down the drain overnight. The worry right now is the used car market, is that everybody who paid over on sticker or they're paying, right now, you go out, you look for a 1-year-old car that's come back on the used car market, the certified, you're paying over, a lot of places, it's over sticker, the original sticker for that used car.
Right.
And you pay that now, come August, September, I think it was Goldman or someone was out there estimating that August, September, you're talking almost a 20 to 25% hit overnight in used car prices. So you're talking a $30,000 car becoming worth 22 grand overnight.
Which means you just lost $10,000 in value.
So be careful. If you don't, try and find someone who's going to sell you a car at a reasonable price. It's a great time to buy a new car. If you can find retailers that are going to sell you cars for sticker a little bit under, it's a great time to buy versus buying that 1-2-year-old used car.
Yeah.
That has kind of flopped during this whole thing.
Yeah, it's a conversation that I have and all of us have every day with our customers is You feel for those that absolutely have an immediate need, cannot wait, and the market says that this is the price of the car, and we're still under sticker on that. We're still fair, but the best thing to do right now is to order a new car, wait for it, and you'll get the better economic decision if you can wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And be careful. And also, if you're a customer out there that's in those dire situations, we make special exceptions and try and find cars and pull cars out of our loaner fleet for those special occasions where someone totals a vehicle and they have to have a car.
Right.
We'll figure out how to get you a car. Come see me, call me. You can send me an email directly at jeffm@mmsubaru.com, and we'll see what we can do to help. I've done 2 or 3 of those in the last couple of months, just where someone has to have a car.
Yeah.
And they can't wait.
And you do that stuff because your goal is to help people, but then those people come back. Their neighbors come to us. Their family comes to us.
And our goal, that's why we're not selling cars for $5,000 or silver. Our goal is to sell you 15 cars. We're not ever in the one and done business. That's not how we've built this company over the last 50 years of Subaru and 80 plus years as a family. We do it to try and sell you multiple cars.
Yep, for sure. All right, a little out of order this week. There's our Wheels segment. Any thoughts or complaints or comments you've got for us, follow us, like us, leave a comment, leave some feedback. We have a giveaway all the time going on our socials and here on the show. At the end of this show today, we'll be giving away some jazz tickets. So make sure you follow us all along the way here on Sports, Wheels, and Reels. When we come back, we're going to talk movies. And I've got a family suggestion. I've got a date night suggestion. I have my thoughts, my homework. I did my homework.
Did his homework on Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
Okay.
And we'll see if Jeff agrees with my take on Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Be right back on Sports, Wheels, and Reels.
My name is Sierra Hudson. I'm a wife, mom, business owner, and my Subaru is safety for my family. So my husband Colton and I have 3 beautiful little girls. We love adventures. There's just so much to do outside, and we love being able to jump in our Subaru and just go. We've brought all 3 of our babies home from the hospital in our Subaru. So Subaru really is just a brand that's part of our family as well. My husband, he actually surprised me for Christmas in 2019 with a Subaru Ascent, and that was just the best Christmas present ever. So this past winter, it was January, we decided to take a spontaneous trip to St. George. My husband he hit a black ice or just snow, and we just started to slide. I was in the back seat and I was just making sure, kind of bracing for my kids to be safe. And it was just one of those moments where you truly feel helpless. We hit into the cement barrier and then rotated and hit a FedEx freight truck. And after we hit that truck, we spun again. The airbags had gone off and everything was fine at that point. Our Subaru, put its life on the line for us. And I just thought that was, I know it's a car, but it means so much more to us and our family. So there's no other car I want to drive. Subaru is one of the safest brands, and people can tell you that it has all the safety features, all the bells and whistles, but I've personally lived that. I mean, we went through such a horrific accident, and I can just attest that the Subaru truly is as safe as they say. The Ascent has Subaru EyeSight, and that is just an extra pair of eyes on the road, which I know I could use, and I'm sure you other moms could use as well. So when we were looking to get another Subaru, the only place that I could trust was Mark Miller Subaru. At Mark Miller Subaru, they have their Promise Price program, which is when you go in, the price you see is the price you pay. They're not haggling you. I mean, their salespeople aren't even paid on commission. So you just feel so comfortable when you walk in the doors. And as a woman, I just feel like I'm not being, talked down to. It's just such a great overall experience. As a mom with 3 busy kids, I don't have the time to drop them off places, so it's so nice that I can bring them here when I'm getting services done, looking for a new car. They have a cafeteria, they have a kids' play area, and it just makes the experience completely just relaxing, like it should be. I love Mark Miller Subaru, and so many other people do too, but hey, don't take my word for it. Just Google them. I mean, you'll see how many positive reviews come up. Subaru is a brand you can trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local Utah retailer that you will love.
We're like Visa. We're everywhere you want to be, whether you like it or not.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Should get a sponsorship.
Well, it's actually, I don't know that I can share it. But at one point in my life, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Huh?
I failed miserably.
Some rough shows.
Oh, yeah. Only rough shows. But that's a different spin on one of my old stand-up jokes that I won't share here on
This probably for the best.
this family-friendly show. Speaking of family-friendly, let's talk some movies.
Let's do it.
Everyone's favorite pastime, at least everyone does go to movies and watch movies. Most people are streaming nowadays. I still like the big screen experience at the local theaters. But
Like the popcorn. What's the snacks?
oh,
What's
I
the
love
snack situation?
I love Sour Patch Kids. I love Good and Plenty.
Okay.
Mike and Ike's are big with me, but always a tall, icy Coca-Cola and a salty, buttery popcorn.
Extra butter.
Oh, yeah. what they call butter. Yeah. I don't want real butter.
Butter flavoring.
I want that.
You want the flavoring kind.
Yeah. Like the butter.
I'm with you.
that
Sour
dip your
Patch Kids,
lobster in.
butter, and a Coke. And some popcorn with the butter.
Exactly, right. But my family suggestion this week, family movie, is one that seemingly everyone in the world is really in love with except me.
Don't like it. Why don't you like it?
Encanto, and it's up here behind us. It's fine. The music is okay.
I hear the music's really good.
It gets stuck in your head.
Isn't that? That's the idea of Disney music.
Yeah, and Lin-Manuel
Come
Miranda.
on, Let It Go. Like, I think
exactly.
that's still stuck in my head from
Moana,
8 years ago.
All kinds of Coco gets
Yeah.
stuck in my head all the time. Those all though are so much better, I feel, than Encanto's music,
Okay.
and the storyline is really messy.
Doesn't get together.
It's just hard for me to stay engaged with that movie. That being said, I fully understand and accept that I'm an old grump. That this is probably an incredible movie that I'm just sour grapes
Maybe you need to
over.
watch it again.
Oh, I've watched it.
How many times you watched it?
I have a 3-year-old
Oh, okay, you watched it a lot.
and a wife who breaks movies down like a 3-year-old. Like,
Does your wife like it?
oh yeah. My wife. Do you know the show Bluey? The little blue heeler Australian
I
puppy
don't.
dog family. It's a cartoon. It's
Okay.
fantastic. But my wife gets so into these children's shows that we'll turn it on to let the kid watch it, and she and I will be having to have a conversation, and she'll like tell me
she
she
shushes
shushes me
You get shushed on kids'
because
movies?
she's so into Bluey.
Because we usually put the kids' movies on, like we'll sit in the back, like check some emails,
Yeah.
talk.
Take a nap.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. But she's into it. She's all about it. So, but the family suggestion, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it already, but if you haven't, your family will enjoy Encanto.
Encanto.
Your family liked it.
Yep,
So,
my kids loved it.
and then I just saw this movie last night by accident. My wife,
I have not seen this one yet.
she found it on Netflix, gave it a shot, and it ended up, honestly, it's maybe already in my top 20 movies ever.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Ever.
That's
It
a-
was
that's
that
a
good.
big list.
It
Up
is,
there with all those Nicolas Cage movies, right?
Yeah, right. National Treasure 1, 2, and 3. Is there a third one?
Face Off?
Oh, Face Off is there. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Austin is
Wicker
not.
Man?
He is not a Nicolas
Ghost
Cage
Rider?
fan.
Con Air, though. I like Con Air. Yeah.
Who doesn't like Con Air?
A lot of people, but they're wrong. They
That's sad.
should. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. This is a rated R date night, by the way. It's on Netflix. It's called Long Story Short. It's an Australian comedy.
What's the basis behind it?
It is Groundhog Day, but with a new marriage. So the man, it starts with their wedding, and then it fast forwards to the first morning of their honeymoon.
Okay.
And then he wakes up every day a year later on their anniversary.
So he misses everything
Misses the whole year.
but the next day.
And his life is falling apart, and yeah.
Whoa, interesting.
It's hilarious. It's heart-wrenching. And it's, honestly, it's got an incredible message that I may have shed a tear watching this last night.
I like it.
It was really good.
I'm gonna have to go watch that. That one
Long
sounds
story
right up my
short.
alley.
Yeah.
Long story short. So it's in Netflix?
Netflix. Watch it for your date night. And then I also caught this week Chris Farley, the comedy genius.
It's the second A&E documentary on him.
Yeah, I just happened to see it on YouTube. It's in full on YouTube.
I gotta tell you, anything Chris Farley, I'm in,
Well, this is about his life.
which is sad.
It is very
Tragic.
very sad and very tragic. And it was, a lot of it was chosen, but a lot of it was a demon that a lot of people deal with.
Yeah.
And he was a human being who happened to be, excuse me, who happened to be really funny and really famous, but he was still a human being.
And held on a pedestal.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, put on this pedestal as
Way
this
too high.
comedy god, and
Yeah.
everybody wanted to do everything for him and help him and buy him things and buy him drugs and buy him alcohol and
Yeah. Yeah, a drink everywhere, 6 drinks everywhere he went.
oh, totally.
Yeah.
And he had this persona he had to keep up.
And what I
On
liked
top of
about
that, right? I mean,
exactly.
he had to keep that Chris Farley.
Had to be on all the time.
Oh, Chris
Yeah.
Farley. Oh,
Fat guy in a little coat. Yeah.
my gosh, fat guy in a little coat. It brings me back to high school. So this is a funny story. Quick Chris Farley side note. So it was my junior year of high school, and when basketball team, we had to wear jackets on game days. So our
around
coach
school,
made us wear a jacket every day on game day. And there was a kid on the team, and I was really little then too when I was a junior. And we had another kid on the team who was like 5'5", 5'6". He was our point guard and really good. His name Cody. And so he had his jacket, and we have another guy on our team who's kind of a bigger guy. He's like 5'11". He's like 5'11", but a big guy. He was like our post guy. And so he was screwing around the hallway, and he put on Cody's jacket, and he's doing the fat guy in little coat thing in the hallway, and accidentally ripped his jacket in half
Poor Cody.
in the back.
The good news is those jackets are really inexpensive.
Yeah.
They're not.
I don't know how nicely.
Was it one of those Letterman jackets?
No, it was like
a
it was like a
warm-up.
suit jacket. Like we had to wear a suit jacket on
like a
game days. We had to wear like a blazer and a tie on
So
game
really
days.
like from that scene.
So it was exactly from that scene.
Oh, I
and
was
he did the
picturing
whole
like
scene.
a team jacket.
It was so funny though,
Oh,
and
man.
but it's a memory that we've all have for the rest of our lives. So I think it was worth it for the jacket.
Well, what I liked about this documentary was it is Chris Farley has 3 brothers.
Okay,
One of them looks just like him.
it's Kevin, right?
I can't remember.
I think it's Kevin Farley. Yeah,
yeah.
because he's been in a bunch of stuff.
And then these 2 other brothers, all of them. So Kevin looks like him.
Yeah, totally.
The other one acts like him, and the third one thinks like him. And you can see,
Interesting.
and you can just see, and the documentary is them telling the story of Chris's life.
Wow.
At a bar,
Yeah.
having some drinks and some food, and they over order in honor of
Oh,
Chris. It's really Bill Murray's brother, Joel Murray.
What's your favorite Chris
Was in
Farley
it, and-
skit ever?
A lot of people would probably say Chippendales or Matt Foley.
I like the Bears.
Oh yeah, the Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
Yeah, yeah.
The chicken wings.
Yeah.
The buffalo wings.
I liked. There's one that a lot of people never saw. He was a figure skater at the Olympics, and it was really him skating.
That's so funny.
It was really
Van
fun.
down by the river.
Yeah, that's the Matt Foley
Yeah.
motivational
Is it a
speaker.
van
Yeah.
down by the river.
So if you're a Chris Farley fan, check that out. I found it on YouTube in its entirety, ad free. So
Now, should we get to the homework?
let's get to the
your
homework. Last week you told me I had to go watch
Don't look up.
Don't Look Up. Leo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, a bunch of other people. Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill was excellent in it.
The most overrated actress of all time, Meryl Streep.
What?
Just by definition. Like, I don't think she's terrible. I
What?
just think she's overrated.
She's the GOAT.
Well, that's why a lot of people will say that about the Beatles. They're the greatest of all time. That means they're overrated.
You heard that? So
By
all the actors
definition.
in this thing, there's a funny story about the GOAT as part of this movie. And they all, like, literally 2 of them, I think Jonah Hill said it, and Jennifer Lawrence said it, like, on Kimmel or something like that. And they're basically talking about they went around the set the whole time they're filming it. And for the first, like, month of the set, they're calling Meryl Streep GOAT. And she has no idea what it means.
Oh, really?
So she's just like, well, I just feel like they're calling me like the old goat. The old goat on set.
Taking it politely, but as an insult.
Yeah. Just being Meryl Streep, like really nice Meryl Streep. She's like, yeah, I just figured they were just
She does have that
should
rep.
be like the gold, like
Yeah.
like the ice old goat on set. And they finally told her, no, you're the greatest of all time. They finally
That's
figured it
funny.
out. But like both of them, like
That's so good.
so funny.
She has that rep of being humble
Totally.
and normal.
Oh, totally.
And I don't mean that she's a bad actress. I just think she's overrated. But she was great in this.
She was great.
Fantastic.
Playing the conservative president.
Yeah.
So tell me what you thought. So tell me your overall view on it.
So it's heavy-handed with its politics, which it had to be and should
That
be.
was its point.
And I may or may not, I do agree with the politics that were being shared. Not the ones that were being
No.
mocked, but that's a different conversation. I'd give this movie probably a B-,
Okay.
just because I think C+ is too harsh. It's worth seeing just for Jonah Hill alone, though.
And I think
He was freaking funny.
I think it's one of those movies. It's entertaining. It's a great movie. It's a cool message, everything like that. It's not one you'd buy and watch over and over.
Yeah. It's a little below Leo DiCaprio, honestly.
Yeah, he plays a really interesting character. He's like not like the heartthrob like guy. He's just this like weird old dad.
What I mean by that is, he plays the character great.
He plays him great.
It's a little low quality for his line of.
I thought Jennifer
acting.
Lawrence was great though too.
She's fantastic.
She's terrific in it.
I've loved her in everything she's done.
Yeah.
Back to the Bill Engvall show days. So I did my homework. I watched Don't Look Up. B-.
Worth watching.
Yeah.
Worth watching. You got to watch it at
Probably
least
won't
once.
watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
But Jonah Hill was really funny in it as well. Now, I gave you homework, and I can't remember what it was, which probably means you didn't remember to do it.
I definitely didn't remember.
Which we'll have to go back and watch.
We're going to go back and watch the tape. We have these all recorded, so now we can go back and see it. If anybody listening can send us a message that remembers what my homework was, I'll get it done for next week.
I also wanted to do something fun. If you're ever watching a movie in the Mark Miller Subaru Lounge
Yeah.
at Megaplex, send us a selfie.
Yeah.
Send us a picture.
Yeah, tag us on Twitter. So maybe we'll enter you in and give you a special prize or something, get some movie passes or something.
Yeah, it's just a great way to take in a flick. And
Yeah.
I love all the Megaplex theaters, but we have such great movie theaters, regardless of brand, here in the Valley.
This is a great valley for movie theaters.
Yep.
And they're still not crazy busy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they
So-
could use some. They could use some business for sure.
Head on out and enjoy some movies. If you're staying home, though, family night in Canto, date night.
I'm definitely watching Long Story Short.
Long Story Short.
I need
You
to
gotta
watch that.
check it out.
That's my homework this week.
Yep.
At least one of them.
All right, we're going to take our second break here on Sports Wheels and Reels. When we come back, everyone go, take a deep breath.
We're going
do
to talk
some
about
meditation.
the Jazz.
We're going to talk about the Utah Jazz, or how they've been playing lately, the Utah Az, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh,
there.
man. That's bad.
Be right back, unless we're canceled.
My name's Jamie Usry, and I am a dog mom, a human mom, a wife, a member of the LGBTQ plus community, an animal advocate, and my Subaru is freedom. I've had so many animals over the years, several dozen dogs and cats. One of the things that I love about Mark Miller Subaru is they're the largest animal welfare supporter that I've ever met in the Salt Lake Valley. The dogs definitely enjoy the Subarus. I think it's a little more comfortable than some cars we've had in the past. One of the main reasons that I decided to purchase my two Subarus from Mark Miller Subaru is safety. Keeping all my little creatures safe is important to me, and Forester and the Ascent that I have are both highly rated. It's kind of this combination of a safe car, a nice looking car, but also a very convenient dog owning and kid owning car as well. It's hard to leave the house to come have something done like an oil change or a rock chip repair, and so they come to me. Mark Miller Subaru comes out, picks up my car, brings it here to have it serviced, and drops it back off. And you just couldn't ask for anything better when you're a busy mom like I am. When I knew I was going to buy Subarus, one of the reasons that I trusted Mark Miller Subaru so much is not just what they do for animals in the community, but what they do for our LGBTQ plus community here in Utah. They're one of the longest supporters of the LGBTQ plus community. I feel, as a person involved in that community, that they are someone that I can come to and will give me a good deal and respect me as a person and treat me right and my family right. And my wife and I, our daughter Harper and our dogs, we're just so happy that we picked Mark Miller Subaru. You may not even realize it, but through Mark Miller Subaru's Love Promise program, they're probably supporting a nonprofit that you love in the community. In the past 10 years, they've donated nearly $3 million across Utah to charities that we all love and support. Subaru is a brand that I trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local retailer that I love.
Welcome back, Sports Wheels and Reels, our final segment this week on episode numero dos.
Sports.
Let's get to it. Let's get it over with.
You're the pessimist.
Let's
I'm the
start it.
optimist. It's going to be a good back and forth here.
Good is probably not a word I'd use to describe this team right now.
Should we start with the Jazz?
Let's start with them. I am, for realsies, panicking about the Utah Jazz. I am. I think that they are a paper tiger at best right now.
Okay, so without Gobert, yes. So they lost all their games without Gobert.
Right, with Gobert.
Okay, so they lost all the
He's
games
good
without
and
Gobert.
everyone else is
Team,
terrible.
Team comes back. They had a great win in Denver.
Yeah.
You have to say that,
Yeah,
right?
yep,
A great win
yep.
in Denver. Came back, played that game against the Lakers.
Yep.
were ice cold. I mean, you're talking about frozen ice cold. Donovan actually played the second half with a full concussion,
which
he
he
shouldn't have, which they didn't notice he had a concussion, which explains why he couldn't make a shot in the second half because he was concussed.
Yeah.
Then they played the last game they played in Houston. And my personal opinion on that Houston game, I watched the entire game. They were screwing around. They were trying things out on defense. And Locks mentioned this, and a bunch of other guys mentioned this. They were testing stuff on this 5-out. They knew they were playing against a 5-out, no center team.
Right.
They were going to test some stuff. And that's why Eric Paschal didn't play. Everyone's crazy about Eric Paschal didn't play. Why'd they play Doak? Because they wanted to try this 5-out when Whiteside comes by and test these things out.
Yeah.
It was a test game, and they lost it. They figured they could screw with Houston and win, even doing this. And Houston got hot, and they made 50% of their threes or something like that.
Yeah, Christian Wood was terrific. Yeah.
And it's middle of the season. I mean, if you listen to Locke this morning, he talks about it's the dredges of the season. It's the middle of the season where everyone's trying to figure out, and everybody's worried about getting traded.
Okay.
I think you've got Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles both in really bad places.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Clarkson thinks he's getting traded, which could probably be true.
Yeah.
But he is in a very bad place. I mean, you look at his body language, you look at him sitting on the bench, you look at him like during timeouts, he's not engaged.
Look at the last half a season of games, actually a year and a half of games for Jordan Clarkson.
He is just not engaged in the team. And he gets out there and he does his own thing, and it's outside what the team needs him to do. And if he can get back to what won him Sixth Man of the Year last year, he's a useful guy to this team. If he wants to keep doing what he's doing now, which is just going one-on-one and staying outside, where he's good is when he drives to the hoop and dumps, when he drives to the hoop and kicks out, when he gets so much gravity to him, but the gravity's there because, guess what? They know he's not going to pass it.
Yeah.
They know he's just going to go up and throw a hook shot up or go to the hoop, and he has games where they go in, he has games they don't. But we can't live on that.
Well, all these things kind of point to what I am saying as well, is that contenders don't have players feeling like they're going to be traded, especially players that are major contributors that just won Sixth Man of the Year. Contenders don't have mess around games against the lower teams in the league.
Here's what we did this week.
Contenders don't lose 6 of 7 with a defensive rating of 117, 26th in the league.
Okay, but 4 of those you played without a center.
You're still a contender if you're still a contender.
But you're not a contender. But you're not a contender without Rudy Gobert.
And I don't believe they are with him right now.
Just like the Suns aren't a contender without Chris Paul.
You think so?
Chris Paul goes out of that game, that team's toast.
Well, that'll be interesting because we'll get to see them play Phoenix
twice this week. Look at this week. Here's the upcoming week schedule. So we got Detroit tonight, which you call a throwaway game, but they beat us pretty good at the Detroit. But you're playing without anybody.
And Donovan are probably both out tonight. So
totally.
And Jeremy Grant is out.
Jeremy Grant's out for them. They're preparing him for his trade.
He's been playing in the G League after thumb surgery.
They're getting ready for his trade. He's going somewhere. It's a matter of where. Would you trade for him?
Well, I was going to say, if he were playing tonight, you might get a preview of next week's Jazz team.
Bogey and Clarkson for Grant?
No, I would not trade Bogdanovich. I would just I would fine him $5,000 per dribble.
Clarkson.
That's what I would do with Bogey.
Clarkson and Ingles.
Yeah. But why would Detroit do that?
For Grant.
And Detroit is probably going to get, I think, 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant.
We don't have any firsts.
The Jazz don't have any firsts.
We maybe give him 1.
Yeah, but it will be in the 20s.
I think, there's got to be a trade made. You got to assume there's going to be some kind of shakeup. But the funny thing with the NBA is memories are short.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in a week. You see, and then we'll have a good conversation because here's the schedule next week. You got Detroit tonight, then you got at Golden State, at Phoenix on a back-to-back, and then Phoenix at home on Wednesday.
And don't discount Memphis next Friday.
Yeah, that'll be after our show next Friday, so we'll talk about that again. But you get Donovan back, you get Whiteside back, you get a full roster back. Jazz go 3-1 in these games. Is all right in the world?
If they go 3-1 in these games and it's against a full complement, Golden State, full complement
Golden State's not going to have Draymond.
Well, okay, but I can forgive.
They lost the Pacers last night without anybody, without LeVert, without Brogdon, without Miles Turner.
I saw Steph saying no one's panicking there. And they shouldn't be.
No, and I go back to what Locke
said. The Jazz should be.
I go back to what Locke said this morning, and he's just like, it's the same thing. Should you guys all be? It's the same thing, that they lost a couple games.
Yeah, but they're them.
They're 5-6 since in the last 11 games.
I don't
something
feel
like that.
they're so not rudderless as I feel the Jazz are right now.
That's because of the
There's
media.
fractures
It's because
and-
of
no,
and
get out of here
Twitter
with
and all
that.
the crap.
Listen, Penny Hardaway, the media is not the problem here. The problem is that you've got stars that don't see eye to eye.
I think that's blown out of proportion.
And new ownership, as much as I respect them, these things take time to meld, and the Jazz don't have that time. But that be said, if they go 3
They
and
don't have
1,
that time. What's their record right now?
well, I mean Donovan's contract is counting down here.
They're
That's what I
43.
mean.
They're halfway through the season. We got 41 games left.
If
to
they
get
go-
things right, we're fine. If we
if
go 2
we're
and 2
fine.
this week, we're okay.
At some point, that we're fine thing becomes that dog with the fire around him drinking his coffee. Everything's fine.
I am not as worried as you are.
No, you're not, and you should be.
I think we still have
Don't look up, Jeff.
we still have 2 of the top 20 players in the NBA, and you could argue 3 of the top 30 players in the NBA.
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, I could.
And what team has 3 of the top 30 players? You're okay. And
you're-
and you could argue Bogey's the top 60 player.
Oh, I think he is when he doesn't dribble.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
If they go 3 and 1 against, pretty much full teams,
3 and 1 would be awesome.
then I'll sit here next Friday and tell you that they are contenders.
What do I get if they go 4 and 0?
Well, we won't know that till next Saturday, right?
No, because
tonight's game.
including Detroit.
Yeah.
If they lose to Detroit, then I don't know.
If they lose to Detroit, what do I get? All right. That's the Jazz. They have me worried. I feel like they should be a little more
I
worried.
think it's way too early in the season to panic.
When is it okay to panic?
Well, what was it? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when they were
They finished 25-9 or whatever.
when
29
they
and 4.
won like 25 out of 26 games or
Ricky
something like
Rubio
that. Yeah,
played like.
Well, it looked like the Jazz.
Pete
They had a
Maravich.
losing record. They were like 17 and 20, and then all of a sudden they rolled off 25 out of 27 or something.
Yeah.
That stuff happens in the NBA. And you get a full complement of players, and the Jazz with a full complement are 10 and 3. And the 3 games
Yeah.
they lost with that full complement, they lost by a total of 4 points. 4.
Well, okay, so the talent is definitely there. The talent is there. What do you feel about you say a full complement, and I do think the capabilities, talent-wise, is theirs. It's tangible. You can see it. The results speak for that. But I just have this feeling that there is some intangibles going on that are not playing out well off the court, and you're seeing that impact on the court.
And you don't know that. And a lot of
I
that's
kind of do know that.
And I think you'll see that. But I think that every team has
I don't
that.
know all the
I think
details,
every team has that in some way or another.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's perfect in that. We have a Facebook comment. I think it's
Okay.
probably for you.
Oh, no.
So does that mean Michael Jordan is overrated too?
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
What?
So going back to what I said about the Beatles and Meryl Streep, by definition, you're not crazy to say that all of those people are overrated
You're insane.
because they might be the,
You are
they might
absolutely
be the
crazy.
greatest of all time, but that means there's people that also don't like them that think they're overrated.
Well, of course, someone's going to think they're overrated, but that doesn't mean they are.
No one's perfect. So therefore, everyone's capable of being overrated. And Michael Jordan's the second greatest player of all time.
LeBron's better than Jordan
Yeah. They go one-on-one. Who you taking?
in their primes.
Yep.
But the one thing about NBA though,
It's not
it's
tennis.
not
Yeah.
a one-on-one sport.
What if they played tennis? Who would you take to
right?
win?
I mean, you put Wilt Chamberlain
pick-
against any of these guys,
I
they
would-
probably beat him one-on-one,
That's right.
right?
Bill Russell is the
Yeah,
best
right.
player of all time because he's got 11 titles.
But
or
guess what?
whatever,
This is a team game, and it's how you play inside a team. And they're both insane. I have no problem saying that they're both the greatest of all time.
Do you feel like I feel like
It's
LeBron's done
I think
more
it's
with
a
less?
stupid argument.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, I think it's. You could say that. I mean, LeBron winning in Cleveland with like some of the seasons he got to the playoffs and took them to the finals. Like we're going to the finals with Mo Williams as your point guard.
Well, that's where people.
That's crazy.
People bring up his losing finals record, and I'm like, look at he got to the finals with Eric Snow as his point guard one year.
He got to the finals with Mo Williams,
Mo Williams.
as his point guard.
Sasha Pavlovich,
Oh my gosh, some of
the
those teams
Jazz
were
cast-off
so bad.
in the
where Jordan always had Pippen.
Yeah. Yep.
Always had a Hall of Famer next to him.
Rodman.
And Rodman.
He had Paxton. He had Kerr. He had
Question though for you. I don't think we have time for this argument, but
Armstrong.
is Pippen a Hall
Horace
of Famer
Grant.
without Jordan?
No, not without him.
See, that's a tough question too.
Yep. But
through to the
anyway,
next
we got a little distracted there, but we do welcome the Facebook
And we're going to get
comments.
into the next week. We're going to have a really good conversation about, because this is a huge telling week for the Jazz.
This will tell
I mean,
us
you
a
look
lot.
at this schedule, it's going to be a big week. I think if the Jazz even get 2-2 through this,
Depending on how they play.
I think you stop the bleeding, depending if they're competitive.
Yeah. Do you stop the off-the-court bleeding?
I don't know, but you're getting
Yeah.
closer to trade deadline too. Trade deadline's February 10th, so you're getting closer.
Yep. Let's talk a little football.
Utah.
The Utes hire 2 former players to replace Kyle McDonald and the surprising retirement of Sione Puha, the defensive line coach. They hire Quinton Ganther, who's been working up at Weber State for many years.
Former running back.
He's going to be the new running backs coach. And Luther Ellis.
The legend. My high school. He was when I was in high school. He was the DN. Like,
It's too bad he went to the Lions.
Yeah.
Because he was
he was
way
a
better than
beast in
a lot of
college.
people know. College, for sure, he's in the Utah Sports
Yeah.
Hall of Fame for a reason. He probably could have been in the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame if he hadn't gone to Detroit.
Probably.
That's just my
And he's been doing a great job coaching. I mean, he's coached for many years. He's coached up at Idaho most recently.
Correct.
They were one of the top 20 teams in football in sacks and
2.3 a game or
yeah.
something like that.
I mean, I think he's going to be a great hire.
My only I like former player hires.
Yeah, that's my question. Do you like the idea of getting former players?
It's a little non-creative, isn't it? It's a little unimaginative to bring in the former running back that's at Weber and the former defensive line legend that's at Idaho, and just don't do a national search. Just bring these
But it's
guys in
part of-
immediately.
But I think from the Utah standpoint, it's part of our culture and it's what's made it work, right? Same thing
Yeah.
BYU does. It's the same, is that they build it and it's how they build this culture of guys that are Utah through and through. The locker rooms after the game, doing your chants, and it builds that camaraderie and teamwork
Yeah, for sure.
by having that guy. And then it shows the players that you're not just here for 4 years.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're telling your players that we're here for you after. That you're out there, that we want to bring you back. We want you part of our program longer than just your 4 years or 3 years that you're here.
Yeah.
Or 7 years if you're Britton Covey.
And then you also have examples of where it didn't
He's
work.
going to be a great coach someday.
Yeah.
I think Britton Covey will be a coach
If
at
he
Utah
wants
someday.
to. I think.
Who knows what he'll
yeah.
do? I think he'll get drafted.
I don't know if he'll get drafted. I think he'll have a gig.
Someone's taking
Yeah.
a flyer on him.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to take a flyer and see if they can make him that little slot receiver, Weckler, whatever the guy on New England's name was, Welker.
Wes Welker.
Yeah, that kind of player. This the little like 5'10"
Julian
guy.
Edelman,
Yeah,
frankly, yeah.
little 5'10" guy that can find all the seams and be a return guy, and he just has that natural talent.
Yeah. I just don't think they'll use a pick on him, but I think he'll be in the NFL. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he makes a roster. He makes an opening day roster.
I give a little less leash to these former player coaches than the fan bases do. You have examples of where it failed miserably with like Ty Detmer at BYU and those sorts of things.
But Ty Detmer didn't have any college experience.
That's true.
Ty Detmer was a high school coach that they brought in to run a college offense.
Gary Anderson, though, being rehired by Utah State was a disaster.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't always work. I like former player hires because it's former players and it fits in and it's the culture you talked about. It just also seems a little like an easy choice.
Yeah.
But both these guys are massively qualified for those gigs.
Yeah, Ganther was an NFL
He was.
coach.
Yep.
Like, he was an NFL assistant coach.
Yep.
Like-
With Miami, I
Jacksonville.
want to say. This is
I think
Jacksonville.
it was Jacksonville. I don't know.
Yeah, he was with Weber. Then he went with Urban to Jacksonville,
Yeah,
didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, so.
But I like that. I like the idea that you don't have to teach these guys the culture.
Yep.
Where a lot of coaches, assistants you bring in, and they have to find their way into the culture. They're in the culture already. It makes, I think, it a lot easier for these players to listen to them.
And then we are running out of time, but let's just real quick tease this weekend's NFL playoffs.
What do you think?
My Titans.
Your Titans. They are your Titans. Through and through, Austin is a Titan fan. He's not a front runner.
Almost right. Yeah. I was a 49ers fan.
You got Henry
growing up.
back?
Huh?
Henry's back?
Yep. Yeah.
That's
he's
helpful.
back.
That's very helpful.
That's why they needed that number 1 seed.
Because they needed
Yeah.
that week. But they're playing the Bengals. The Bengals
They are
offense
on-
has been good.
They are on upset
Jamar
watch.
Chase, you got
Yeah.
Mixon, you got Burrow. That's a good football team.
Yep.
It's
they
like
are
my
on upset
entire
watch.
fantasy football roster was like Cincinnati. I still didn't win anything.
So
but
sad. So last weekend was ho-hum. I think this weekend you're going to be in for
there's
4
some great
phenomenal
games. Chiefs, Bills.
Chiefs Bills on Sunday in Kansas City. That's Mahomes versus Allen. That's going to be a must watch. You've got the
Packers,
Buccaneers.
Niners. You're going to do Bucks first. Bucks, Rams.
So Saturday it goes Titans, Bengals, Niners, Green Bay. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I like Niners Green Bay too, because what you get is you get Aaron Rodgers revenge. You get revenge Rodgers.
But we've seen that already.
I know, but he just loves to beat on the Niners.
That's, I think, is going to be a 21-point victory.
You think Green Bay wins it that big?
Yeah, I do.
Let's see where that goes.
And then Sunday brings you the Rams at the Buccaneers, and the Rams look like a team of destiny. But the Buccaneers have the GOAT.
They do have
at quarterback.
The overrated.
He's overrated
as well.
Massively overrated.
So he's overrated too.
Massively.
This is our overrated episode of
Give
Sports
me
Wheels.
Eli Manning every time over Tom Brady. And then of
like
course
the Rams,
KC and Buffalo.
As a local, you gotta be cheering for the Rams with all those Utes on the team.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Terrell Bird. You got Weddle coming out of retirement.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's so fun.
So the NFL playoffs, I think, will be a lot better this week than last.
No, I'm excited. We're going to have 4 good games. It'll be fun to talk about them next week.
Next week, we're hoping to have a former BYU offensive lineman who's now in the NFL. He's coming to pick up a car today. He's going to join us.
Yeah, maybe we'll record an interview and bring it on next year. Next week.
Next year.
Next week.
We'll save it. Yeah.
That'd be a long time. It's still January.
And what we said, this is the week to tell us a lot about the Jazz. We got a lot to talk about next week.
Lots to talk about. Any topics you want us to talk about, feel free to mention them on Twitter, put them out there, and we'll see if we can bring them up.
If you think any of my arguments are stupid like Jeff did, let me know.
Or any movies you want us to watch.
We'd love that.
Yeah, any movies you want us to watch. We're always up for movie suggestions.
For Jeff Miller, our team behind the scenes, Mike Aguilar, Josh Goldsmith, Joseph Dane, Megan Stenquist in the room this week. Everyone making us feel and look a lot better than we should. I'm Austin Horton. We'll be back in 1 week's time on Sports Wheels and Reels.
And wait, Utah by 5.
Trust me.
There we go.